Good morning. I've been collecting children's Bibles and I wish they were being used more. I'll give them away after I read them and record them. A small child's Bible. I don't like when people write in Bibles, but that's okay. A small child's Bible, 1946 by Pelagi Doan. Interesting name, Pelagi Doan. Here are the traditional Bible stories. Adam and Eve. No, the creation. In the beginning, they're all facing the sun. That's a nice one. Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden and were told not to eat the fruit. And they did. So the angel guarded the Garden of Eden and they had to leave. So I think the angel is just a guard there. I don't remember the angel casting him out, just that you'll have to leave. And God sent them from the garden. And here's their sons, Cain and Abel. Cain slew Abel. It's kind of jealousy over their sacrifices. And here's Noah's Ark. And I guess they're on Mount Ararat. Maybe some piece of the ark was found on Mount Ararat. I remember there was a movie about it. And all the animals and the people, Noah's family, left the ark. Be fruitful and multiply. So they had a new start. So I guess this is Abraham and Lot. I think Lot is his nephew. And they chose which way should they go. Should they go this way or that way? Because their workers were starting to fight and the land wasn't big enough for all of them. So they went in separate ways. I think Lot went to Sodom. Abraham was God tested Abraham and said, take your son up and sacrifice him. And he's like, oh, okay. And the angel stopped him. And Abraham was able to look in the bush, and there was a ram to sacrifice. And here is Rebecca. A servant was sent to look for a wife for Isaac. And he said, if she says, here is water for you and your camels, she'll be the one. So Rebecca was the one for Isaac. So he took her. The servant took her back to meet Isaac. So here is Esau, and Rebecca and Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. And Rebecca and Jacob tricked Isaac and took Esau's blessing from him. So Esau was like, oh no, I want the blessing. And he's like, well, I'll give you another blessing. So the Bible follows Jacob. Jacob leaves. Esau was going to be like, I'm going to kill Jacob. Jacob and Rebecca. Rebecca loved Jacob more, I believe, and put hair and fur on Jacob's arms and said, this is Esau, give him the blessing. But it wasn't Esau, it was Jacob. So Jacob sleeps in the middle of the night. He has a dream about angels going up and down the ladder. And I don't know if it actually has wings. Angels have wings in the Bible. I'm not sure about that, but it's a beautiful picture. And here we have Jacob goes to his relatives and meets Rachel. and loves Rachel. And I guess she's a shepherdess. And I think this is Joseph. The many-colored coat of Joseph. And maybe this is Benjamin. So there are maybe, other brothers, and they get very jealous of him. Put him in a pit, and I think this is Benjamin, until Joseph was killed. But actually, Joseph was sold to slave traders and taken to Egypt. But Joseph did very well in Egypt and became a great leader and helped the Pharaoh and interpreted dreams. Okay, and here we'll skip on to Moses. Moses, at the time in Egypt, they said, we're going to kill the Jewish boys, 2 and under. So Moses' natural mom, hid him in a basket, and the Pharaoh's daughter found him, adopted mother, and Moses' sister Miriam went back to her mom, and they helped Pharaoh's daughter to take care of Moses. And Moses grew up and left the Egyptian culture, and the Jews were being persecuted in Egypt. So God spoke to him through a burning bush, and Moses went back and helped take the Jewish people out. So take off your shoes. This is holy land, a holy space. God talked to Moses. And tried to get the Jewish people out from Moses, but the Pharaoh said no. And so Moses said, let my people go. And there were many curses that were put upon Pharaoh's people, the Egyptian people, and frogs coming was one of those curses. Finally, Pharaoh let him go. And then they were out in the desert for 40 years, no water. So God had Moses hit the rock and water came out. I need to reread that story. And who is this? This is Moses. This is an interesting story. Moses came down from getting the 10 Commandments, and everybody was worshiping a golden calf. So he melted the calf in a fire, and he made a powder of it, and made the Hebrews drink it. Oh dear, I don't know if they died or not. Moses was very angry. It's kind of nice. I get to look at the story here, and look at the pictures here. And then Joshua, what came after Moses. And there's a song, Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. So Joshua and his people went around Jericho and yelled and blew trumpets, and the walls came tumbling down. God has given you the city. Oh, and here is Samson. This is an unusual story that he picked up the gate. The Philistines were afraid of Samson because he was so strong. He picked up some gates and moved them. He picked up the jawbone of an donkey and killed 1,000 men. So Samson was very strong. And he finally got captured. His hair was cut. His strength left him, and he was weak. And he died, but his last action was knocking down the temple with all the Philistines. And many people died. Samson as well. And then here we have Ruth. one of my favorite stories. Ruth left her land and her people and went with her mother-in-law after her husband had died, and became a gleaner, a farmer in her new land. And Boaz paid attention to her and married her. There's more to the story, but this is Samuel. Samuel was given to the temple by his mother, and he was sleeping. And he said, God called him Samuel. And Samuel went to Eli, the prophet, and said, "Here I am, you called?" Eli said, "I did not call you. Go lie down." And then God called again, and Samuel got up again, and Eli said, "I didn't call you." And then he finally realized God is speaking to you. So what is God telling Samuel? Next we have David, one of my favorite stories as well. David the shepherd. I think he was small. I'm not sure if he was small in stature, but he was a very good shepherd. Played the harp. Helped soothe King Saul. King Saul was very disturbed, and David started getting stronger than him, but David was always respectful to King Saul. There was the Goliath, the Philistine, the giant. Nobody would fight him, and finally David got up there and fought Goliath, killed him with a slingshot. I think I'll stop there. This is David and Jonathan. Have a good, blessed day.